everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
And I'm Joy Evans.
I'm Mike DeLisio.
And today we're taking a look at a Mind Clash game, which is not often I review a Mind Clash game.
Yes, it's in their Mind Clash play line, which is supposed to be a little bit less intense, heavy.
Well, that's definitely the case.
Yes.
This is a two-player game. It's called Ironwood because it's iron versus wood.
Oh,
There it is.
I just got it.
It makes sense.
Well, people who have not yet played the game, I'm telling them. In fact, the pieces for the one side are made of wood, and the other pieces are made of, well, not iron,
Let's
but
assume
metal.
it's iron.
Steel.
Here's a little bit about how it plays. Here's the board, and on the board there's going to be various cities, and then there's also forest spots. And that's going to matter because we have the woodwalkers against the ironclad. The ironclad, they're soldiers, and they're going to be moving from city to city, while the woodwalkers will be moving through these little lanes here from forest to forest. And there's going to be fights and various things, but you're never really leaving one or the other. What the woodwalkers are trying to do is they're trying to discover totems. And once they find a totem, then they have to, at the end of each round, that totem's going to fade and eventually go away. They just have to get it back to one of these outer forests. And if they do that 3 times, they're going to win the game. The ironclad is sending this drill around the board, and it's going to be drilling for these crystals, and they're going to use those crystals to build forges. And if they build 3 forges, they win the game that way. Now, the game has a very specific path that it follows. At the beginning of each round, the woodwalkers gain 1 crystal, while the ironclad gains 2. Both players are going to draw 2 cards from a deck. And then if you have any cards that have these markers on, they get removed. But then you're going to play 3 action cards, going back and forth, starting with the woodwalker. And at the end of the round, you'll do some changes, and you'll have some chance to recruit more soldiers. But it's all about that card play. Cards are used to take actions and are also used in combat. Each side has 3 cards that they are going to always start with. So these, for example, these have stars on them. These are the 3 cards that the ironclad always start with, and the 3 cards that the woodwalkers start with are going to be these. The woodwalkers also have cards that these are like dream cards or vision cards where you're going to find the cities that you can get your totems at. So that's also going to be some cards that they have. And on your turn, when you play a card, you'll do what it says. So if I play this card, draw another card. Then resolve one of these or spend 2 to resolve both of them. I can move a group of soldiers, or I can attack. This one here just tells me to resolve 2. I can move a group of soldiers, move the drill, or I can place a forge on an outer spot I control. But of course, I have to have the money to do that. Now, these cards are, again, you get these back every turn. There's much better cards in here. Usually you'll notice there's groups of soldiers that the iron-bound are moving around, while the woodwalkers are going to be moving individual people all over the place. But let's say there's a combat. You can fight people who are next to you. Both sides are going to play a card, and you just put them together. The card is secretly played, and again, you can play one of your starting cards. You're going to be basically killing a unit for each of these axes that's not blocked by a shield. So these 2 are here. The ironclad attacks for 1, but it's blocked by 1. The woodwalkers hit for 2, not blocked by any, so the other side is reduced by 2. If you kill all the soldiers, you automatically win. Otherwise, you'll add this flag number to the amount of troops that you still have, and whoever has the most wins and can force the other side to retreat, or something else, depending on how you attack them. A lot of cards will give bonuses. The woodwalkers are trying to destroy the drill sometimes, or they're trying to rob and steal crystals. Since crystals are what are needed to build this drill is going to be moving from spot to spot. And as it moves on the board, you'll be moving this. The first time it moves, you get 2 crystals. Then you get a crystal, then another crystal. But you're putting these crystals in the drill, and you have to get that drill to a forge to dump the crystals off, while a lot of the woodwalker cards allow them to attack either the headquarters or the drill to take it out. The game is much faster than you might think because you only need 3 things, 3 forges, or 3 totems brought back to win. And there's some other rules, but that's basically how you play. So this game, the components are really good in the sense of, I mean, they're really great components. I'm not going to...
Right.
They're like understated, but quality at the same time. The game almost feels classy, if that makes sense.
Especially the iron side. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. It's funny. This game I've had more people stop that were doing nothing, related to what I was doing playing the game and come over and look at it and want to pick up the pieces than even some of the more over-the-top productions. There is something about this that is very appealing just tactily.
That's a good point. Even if they had like a drill that's like a 3D drill, like little whatever, it would not look as good as this drill.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's no 3D drill. There's no 3D golems. I didn't mention golems in the overview, but they're like special warriors that you might or might not see in the game.
That's sad. Yeah.
That are stronger for the I'm about to say bad guys.
No.
Oh, wait a minute now, Tom. You're letting your biases shine brightly.
You live in a log cabin? We're the ones that give you that steel.
This game definitely... It doesn't ever, as far as I read a lot of the lore and stuff behind it, doesn't ever explicitly say that the iron side is the bad guys. But come on, they're following the tropes of, we're mining your mountains.
We are exploiting your resources, but we're doing it for your own good.
And the size of this drill. I mean, it's like, we're coming.
That's right.
But so the components, my only complaint about the components is I found it... The board I wish was a little easier to tell apart. My biggest thing I would love to have seen in this is the cities to be slightly more distinguishable from each other. Because I'll get the card that says, you got to find your totem in this city. I'm like, which city is that one? And I don't want to give it away.
Right.
And they can be covered.
But they all look the exact same, the cities. I wish there had been a bit more color or difference between the cities. That's my single only complaint.
And I echo that same complaint. Is I think the map the region should be more easily distinguishable because you can't attack into or out of the outer regions, and sometimes they kind of bleed into the other regions. So I wish that was more. And you are having to do a lot of the thing where you have to look over the entire board because you don't want to give away what you're looking at. Yeah, just as a matter of course.
Now back to where I need to go.
Right.
I got to look over here. But I'm telling you, the player rates are great.
Yes.
The fact that your board tells you what to do is great. How many resources? Because it's different for each side.
Right.
And it says, you do this. The wood board says, you go first. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's great. And it is, it's billed as an asymmetric game. And I think it is an asymmetric game. The two sides feel very different when you're playing them.
Yes.
The goals are distinct but interrelated, which I think is good. And it's not, I don't feel like I have to teach two games at the beginning. That's that line that you have to kind of cross or not cross with asymmetric games.
That's the thing. I think the factions are extremely asymmetric and extremely thematic. But again, the whole, you don't have to, I know how you win.
Right.
So I can keep an eye, because this is like 70% offense, but then you've got that 30% defense where I have to keep an eye on you. I'm like, okay, I can win, but you're going to win a turn or two before me.
Right.
So you have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, the game really goes quickly. It's not hard to get three things. Suddenly you'll see your opponent has two, and you're like, oh no. Because they're like, oh, I'm getting resources, and you built this, or I got one totem and we dragged it out. Yeah, okay. Oh, that's 1/3 of the game.
Yep.
So it's a quick game, and I'm glad for that. There's not a lot of stalemating that can be done here.
No, it's a lot of forward momentum the whole time.
I love the battle system. Now, this is not a new battle system. Kemet uses the same battle system. Other games have the same kind of thing. The card battle system it's clean, it's fast, it's easy.
Yeah, it's great.
And you do it a lot. So
you do.
Yeah.
And it has that thing that sometimes turns me off in card-driven games where it's got stats, right, which are going to be the main driver of your combat. But then some of them will have some special powers too that can impact those things. Right. When those get to be overwhelming or too just wacky, that turns me off. But I don't feel that here. I feel like they're pretty easily distinguishable. Like, okay, I know what this card is telling me I can do. And I appreciate that. And I really do like this idea of, the strength and the defense is important, but ultimately it comes down to the stat that whatever the flag is. I can't remember the name of that stat, but that's who wins. You know what I mean? Whoever has the most of those at the end of the battle. I really like that.
Yeah. Okay, so after I've said so many good things here, my rating's going to sound like I hate the game. I give it a 7.5. I like it a lot. Here's the main reason I'm not like just raving about the game is because the games are, to me, when I play it, I'm like, that's really fun. I might even want to play it again, reverse sides, and that's interesting. Then I'm able to put it aside. The game's going to play out fairly similarly. I mean, there's going to be differences. The deck of cards, that changes the game a lot. Golems might come out. They might not come out.
Probably not.
It might be better for me to attack the main city or
You may need
wherever
to
else
play
it might
again.
be.
I was Golem crazy,
Were you
man.
really?
Oh,
Oh,
man.
so lucky.
All about the Golem.
When you need them, they're not there. That's all I'm saying.
So, but I like the theme and I like everything, and it's very good, fun. I enjoy it. I don't want to play it all the time, but I have a lot of fun with it. So 7.5 from me.
All right, I'm coming probably. I like it a lot. I'm coming into 7, so a little bit lower than you. I do like the game. There was something I don't really gravitate to. I think because at the end, it is always, which is great because it's tight. It's always close, but you're always going to come in within a round or two of each person winning, unless someone makes an enormous mistake. You know, I think the Ironclad.
Someone's watching us now who just got beat 3-0. Thanks a lot, Joey.
Okay, man. Well, don't play with Jason. But I think the Ironclad has a bit more of a learning curve for me than the other faction. For me, maybe not.
No. I think the mining is trickier to understand.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true. That is true. It's a more subtle faction.
But it's also more fun to just drill and grab those chips. So anyway, I do like this game. I recommend it. I think it's a fantastic, and it does play in 60 minutes or less, which is crazy.
Yeah, I was finding them 45 for the most part. So I'm a little higher. I think we're all kind of in the same ballpark. I'm an 8. And I think part of the reason why it's a little higher for me is that when I looked into the game a little bit, when I read the rule book, I was kind of skeptical. I was like, these are the types of games that I tend to not really like all that much. This one, I think, does it very, very well, meaning card-driven games that has powers involved. A lot of times those games just seem to me to be like, you're building up something over 3 turns. Hey, I've got this card. Take it all away. I hate that stuff. There's nothing really like that here.
Right.
You can definitely turn the tide of a big battle, and that can feel. But I do agree with you, Joey. Essentially, you're going to come in within a few turns of each other. I mean, I think the game is just balanced that way.
Yeah.
On each side, there's 2 or 3 cards in those decks that I'm like, I love this card, right? But each side has them, right? So it's
even the base cards aren't bad.
They're not bad.
Yeah.
They're
Usually
not
your
bad.
base cards are trash.
Yeah, no, that's not the case here. That's a very good point. And it's just a matter of who's able to better utilize those really good cards that I think usually is going to be the winner. Yeah. So anyway, 8. I think we're all pretty closely aligned, though.
Well, there you go, folks. That is Ironwood. 2-player asymmetrical game. Check it out. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Joy Evans.
I'm Mike DeLisio.
Iron beats wood. Maybe.
Rock beats them all.